So I wanted to watch this because I'm really interested. I know a little bit because someone spoiled it for me, unfortunately. But I wanted to see this because this could be interesting. So let's go through this and see what happened to change everyone's mind. Actually, I should probably get myself out of the way here. And don't want to block up Charlie too bad. All right. So let's find out what happened. Shall we?
Good morning, butterflies. It's me, your fairy godfather, Charles. And I'm here to grant you a
Wait. He's not wearing a plain t-shirt. That looks like a keyboard design or something. Oh, this must be serious if Charlie's not wearing a plain t-shirt. We've seen him wear plain black t-shirts before. Nothing found something in the front. This is serious, chat. This is very serious.
special wish, and that wish I know you just made was for knowledge. So I
Yes.
will go ahead and pollinate you with my sweet nectar of knowledge. The situation I covered a couple days ago with the individual who was driving with a suspended license on a Zoom court hearing about his suspended license actually has some huge twists and turns here that not even the Game of Thrones showrunners could have figured out to subvert our expectations. The whole galaxy, but especially the Michigan Secretary of State's office, owe this man a huge, sincere apology. Addressing the elephant in my ass, yes, I am still not home. I am still in front of this SpongeBob title card of a background behind me, but it's very funky and I appreciate that. I'm still on the run. I publicly said My Hero Academia fell off and I haven't been safe since. So,
Charlie.
anyway, for those of you that are unfamiliar with this whole case, I'll drop the lore for you. An individual named Corey Harris went viral for this Zoom court hearing where this happened.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office. Actually, so just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
So we all remember this chat, right? We all remember this happening. It was this poor guy, you know, it was he was due in court, and the case was, I believe, a suspended license case, and he shows up driving. Of course, we're all thinking this guy's an idiot. So apparently, there's more to it than that.
Hey. Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license.
Oh,
An iconic moment in legal history that will no doubt.
Now, I will say, I am a little surprised that the man didn't immediately pipe up with, "No, sir, my license is not currently suspended." That does surprise me a little bit that he didn't immediately pipe up. You know, he just sat there and went, and didn't, and looked shell shocked. So he could have been a little surprised. Hey, Wagyu, we're seeing an update on the guy who, the guy Charlie talked about last week, who went to a court case on a Zoom call for driving while suspended while he was driving while suspended. Apparently, there's been a development on this where we all, no spoiling. I already got some spoilers, but I want to kind of go into it as clean as possible. So that's where we're on this. But like I said, he could have just been shell shocked by the judge's reaction and not really known what to say. I am a little surprised he didn't say something.
Be studied by the best and brightest minds in the field for eons to come. A perplexing case. Now, all of humanity was clowning on this. I made a video talking about this briefly and then going over some other really classic Zoom court moments. Because it's just so silly. Like, to go to the Zoom court hearing while driving with a suspended license, it's kind of a fucking power move, actually. Like, that's a statement right there. The only thing that could have made that any better is if he was puffing on a cigar while drifting around. I've really got this as like a cheesy action movie in my head right now where he's the main character. And then he like gets out of the car and he pushes away on a skateboard and hits a kickflip or something.
And by the way, if something looks weird here, I'm trying to mess with my settings because I think I'm out of sync a little bit. So if I look a little bit weird, that's why.
On the way out and tells the judge to pipe down. He's got more important things to take care of. But it turns out, like a transformer, there was more than meets the eye here. So while he may have been driving with a suspended license on paper, it turns out that wasn't the reality of the situation. It was actually a clerical error. It is true that his license was suspended in 2010. However, it was rescinded in 2022. So what happened is, due to this error in the internal combustion engine that is our beyond dog shit legal process, that information never made it through the proper channels. So he should have been totally green light to drive. You can take the license away from the man, but you can't take the man away from the license. It's the same thing. I just said the same thing in a different way. That's definitely not how that's supposed to work, like the expression. Point is, it's not like when they took away his license, it was like the Space Jam basketball taking away his like ability to drive. He still had the capability of driving, just not the legal authority to do so. But in 2022, he did get that granted back to him, or at least he should have. But apparently the soulless husks at the Michigan Secretary of State's office never received the clearance from the Saginaw Friend of the Court. I hate that title, by the way, Friend of the Court. That shit sounds so childish. Makes me feel like I'm reading a Dr. Seuss book. Yes, this is the Michigan Secretary of State's office requesting thumbs up from the Blorbus County Super Buddies. Looking for big...
Let's read through this. With the type of ties that I have with the church and the community, it's very embarrassing, he told them. His driver's license was suspended in 2010 for unpaid child support, but a judge rescinded the suspension in 2022. So, the suspension wasn't for the DUI like we thought it was. It was for unpaid child support. However, Michigan Secretary of State's office never received a clearance from the Saginaw Friend of the Court, which has tracked down the clerical error. That means the lifting of the suspension never went into effect. Told Simpson he was pulling into a parking lot. So, interesting. Oh, it was a trigger. I have, it's part of my model. I can put on a Snuggie like this. It was accidental. Like I said, I was trying to mess with my sync features, and I accidentally triggered it. That's all.
Pats on the head, please, nuzzles you. I don't know, I hate that. Just friend of the court sounds so stupid for like an actual legal thing. So because the Michigan Secretary of State's office never got that clearance, the lifting of the suspension never went into effect, so the judge was working off the paperwork that was incorrect, stating that his license was still suspended when, in reality, it was not. They tracked down the clerical error and it has been rectified. However, Harris did spend 2 days in jail. And he made this statement saying, with the type of ties that I have with the church and the community, it's very embarrassing. Which I completely understand, and this whole thing is turbo dog shit. It's more than just like blushing of the cheeks, like embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, this is... This was a clerical error for driving was suspended. And 2 days in jail is still far more. Yeah, obviously he should have had none. Obviously, it should have never happened. But what other clerical errors had come into play that people have suffered worse consequences for? Like, this should... The clerk in question that misfiled whatever paperwork, you have to wonder if they're going to be looking into this now much more heavily to see, okay, you screwed this up. What else did you screw up? And does this clerk still have a job? Because theoretically speaking, and I use this term probably a bit too liberally when I talk about stuff like this, but theoretically speaking, he could file a suit against the city for wrongful imprisonment. And it would be a legit lawsuit. And that's how many of these people that you hear about these, you hear about them winning lawsuits against the city. That's how these things happen. Is somebody in the overly complicated machine of local government fucks up, and it comes back to bite them, and you get instances like this where a person was sentenced by a judge for jail time when he shouldn't have, because he was, for the most part, within his rights. Now, granted, he could receive a ticket, because I'm pretty sure, I'm reasonably sure this kind of law is on the books for Michigan. He could receive a ticket for using his cell phone while driving. He did engage in a Zoom call using his cell phone while he was driving. It's called distracted driving rules. Theoretically speaking, if they wanted to be real dicks, and who knows, it's Michigan, they might. If they wanted to be real dicks, they could cite him for distracted driving with this call being evidence. I don't know. I missed the reason why he's here. He said, I think he may have said it in one of his previous videos. I don't know why he is where he is. I don't know if he's going somewhere or if maybe some work is being done on his normal streaming, in the room where his normal streaming setup is. I'm not sure why Charlie is in this space. But yeah, they could have been real dicks about this, but I'm thinking that if they did try to pull that, it would only make them look even worse than they already do. So that's probably why he's probably not going to get a ticket for distracted driving.
It's not like his voice cracked while asking someone on a date or something. Like, this is pretty serious. It's unjust what happened to him. Please ignore the Ford ad. They break up every 3 sentences in this article with an ad. I've now sworn that I will never buy a single product that advertises on any mainstream news outlet because of these intrusive, fucking abominable ads. But this is the explanation. So, the deputy legal director for the Michigan Secretary of State told the station that the process to get a driver's license reinstated can be a complicated process. Sometimes it's as simple as
needlessly complicated process. There, I fixed it for you.
We at the Secretary of State's office did not get a clearance from the court that everything was done, but something happened in the wires and we needed to talk to the court to get the clearance and clean it up for the resident. Which they...
All right, let me back it up. So, something as simple as we at the Secretary of State's office did not get a clearance from the court that everything was done, but something happens to the wires and we needed to talk to the court to get clearance and clear it up for the resident. So, yeah, somebody input something wrong. Somebody added a 0 when they should have added 1 or something. And so somebody at the court fucked up. Either something on the court side or someone at the Secretary of State side, for the reception part of it, fucked up.
We at the Secretary of State's office did not get a clearance from the court that everything was done, but something happened in the wires and we needed to talk to the court to get the clearance and clean it up for the resident.
Because I'm also taking into account the possibility that someone at the Secretary of State's office fucked up and didn't want to admit it. And basically went, oh no, we never got that. No, we never got that information. But they actually screwed up and just didn't want to admit that they screwed up. So that's why they said, the blame was cast back in the courts.
Which they didn't do until he had already been in jail for 2 days. So, he still suffered from this, and I think he should be compensated for that. He didn't do anything wrong. But he had no way of knowing that or knowing how to properly correct this. In an interview that he gave after the dust had settled with all of this hoopla, he did mention that his license was supposed to be fixed 2 years ago, but it just didn't. So he was aware that there was something definitely awry here, something was wrong, but he didn't really know what to do about that. So he still ended up, turning himself in and all of that. And then in the interview, he did mention at the end, always double check the workers because they say they're going to do something and they just don't.
Yeah.
He's 100% right about that. When you deal with anyone in any kind of government position, it seems like they view it as a shameful thing to do their job. Like they seem to want to do everything but what they're supposed to, which really hurts.
Well, and Charlie is also, I'm sure, still pretty bitter about what happened with immigration and his esports team. So, granted, he's not wrong. Charlie is not wrong about this. I can attest to the fact that, government, in Canada does not run smoothly. I've been dealing with something from the government side of things since April. There was I needed something done back in April. And this is something that I knew was not going to happen immediately. Bear in mind, I was not expecting something to happen immediately. I mean, I'm just going to put that out right off the bat. But this, I was not hearing anything about any forward progress. I was not seeing anything online indicating that there was progress on what I was asking to have worked on for almost 2 months now. And finally, it's one of the reasons why I'm, in a good mood, is I finally got the phone call today. First, from a representative from the government to ask me some questions about the situation, which I was repeating myself again, because when I first called them about it, I explained the entire situation to them, in reasonable detail as well. So I was basically just repeating myself and explaining all of this all over again. And I was told, okay, we can conduct the investigation now, and you should be hearing from us by the end of the week. Which I was like, okay, I can live with that. But again, it took almost 2 months to get to this point, with me having called in multiple times before then going, hey, do we have a status update? Where are we at on this? I've called them about 2 or 3 times over the past almost 2 months trying to get some information. And all I was told the entire time is, oh, they're working on it. They're working on it. They're working on it. And I finally got the phone call today, and crazily enough, an hour or 2 later, I got another phone call saying, okay, everything's good to go. You're all set. Like, I'm glad it happened that fast, but the fact that it took me almost 2 months to get to this point, I have to agree with Charlie here. It's you have to, when you're trying to do something from a governmental perspective, when you're trying to get something done, you have to constantly be on their ass about it. Because otherwise and it's what I had said to these government people when I was talking to them. It's like, I don't want to get lost in the shuffle. I don't want to get lost in the cracks on this because this is important. And you kind of have to do that because government mechanisms these days are so needlessly complicated. So they're needlessly complicated, and you add human error on top of that. The chances of something screwing up or going sideways on you are incredibly high. And so you've just got to keep on it. Otherwise, yes, you will get lost in the shuffle.
Just normal, average people. And also, no one watching what happened had any way of knowing that either. Since this story came out with this update here, people have been mad at me saying like, oh, how could you have fucking slandered this man? You should have really looked into this a little bit deeper so you would have known he was innocent from the start. Brother, look around. What the fuck are you talking about? How would I have gotten that information unless
Yeah, and this is just keyboard warriors. This is keyboard warriors thinking, haha, I can stick it to Charlie now. It'd be just like if somebody went on, and I don't think anybody's said anything. Let me look. No, I've got no one's commented on my video saying, haha, well, you were raw. Don't you feel horrible then? It's like, we are not the Michigan court system. We are not the Michigan Secretary of State's office. We only have the information we are presented with. And in fact, we on my stream did more digging than what Charlie did. We dug into this man more. We dug into this the history with this man more than Charlie did. And we still didn't come up with this. We still did not come up with this information when we dug into it. So, we can only like Charlie, myself, anyone else that's talked about this. We only have so much information to go off. We do not have governmental access to people throughout the country or throughout the world. And we were reacting to, at the time, a popular topic of discussion. And we made a mistake. Charlie's admitting it. I am admitting it. We made a mistake. We were wrong about this gentleman. Now again, I do have questions. But we were wrong, and we are admitting we're wrong. So this is not some kind of a gotcha moment. Because we only had limited information to work with. It was pretty damning information, given the circumstances, because we, as average citizens, have to have faith that our criminal and traffic court, our legal systems are functioning. Because the minute there is widespread failure in, like, demonstrable failure, I'm not talking about, this person should have never been thrown in jail because of exigent circumstances X, Y, and Z. I'm talking about, like, system fuck-ups that, like we saw here. We have to go on the basis that things are working. And things are working correctly. Because if there is a systematic failure of these databases and interagency communication systems, if there is a systematic failure, like a demonstrable systematic failure, it's throwing everything into chaos. No. That is completely different. This is not, and he didn't jump on his lawyer. The one that you're thinking of. The man didn't jump his lawyer, the man jumped the judge. This was it might have been a sentencing hearing, I believe, where I think the judge was issuing sentence for, and I'm not even sure what the charges were for. And this the defendant charged and jumped the judge. Like he did a flying tackle on this judge. It was actually kind of impressive. But no, that is not this case. It is a completely different case, completely different person. It is not this person.
I was fucking auditing them. Like the goddamn, what was it, the Saginaw friend of the court? Like the Michigan Secretary of State's office? What am I supposed to do? Like march on over, kick the doors in and say, everyone, hands up. I'm going to need to see all your paperwork here. I saw this silly clip online and I need to verify the authenticity of the driving without a license charges.
I would actually pay good money to see Charlie do something like that. That would be awesome to see him just, even if it's a joke video, just charge into it off and say, all right, y'all, I'm a YouTube commentator. I saw this video. Give me all your information on this. I would love to see that. That would be awesome.
Give me everything you've got. I got a fucking warrant here for all of it. So, come on. Like, there's not an amount of research anyone could have done to find that information. They had to track down the clerical error on their side. There is nothing some fucking bumbling reptile brain idiot like me could possibly do to get that information because it is not available unless you literally worked there and investigated it. I do think some of the records with the suspension and then like the rescinding of it are publicly accessible documents you can have access to, but it's still not something that you, as just like the average dick in hand Joe Schmo, can do to connect the dots on why those wouldn't match up, like why this paperwork didn't make it through the whole process, what the hang up was. Like that's not something that you can track from the outside, I don't believe. So I'm definitely sorry, and I'm super sorry that this happened to him in the first place, because again, he did nothing wrong. He was completely blameless for the driving with a suspended license charges here. Like, the biggest apology of all should come from those authorities there, but there's not going to be any repercussions there. They're just going to throw their hands up and go,
Well, yeah, I mean that's what made it funny to begin with. Is the charge was driving while suspended, and he Zoom calls in while driving. That was what made it funny. You know, it was the entire hook for why it made the news, why Charlie talked about it. Pretty sure Asmongold talked about it. Well, a bunch of people talked about it. He was the hook for it, and yeah, it was funny because it's, again, at the time, me and everybody else were going to assumptions like, this guy's a fucking moron to be calling into a Zoom call for court for us driving while suspended while driving. Yeah, it was funny. That was the look. That's why the Michigan news agencies broadcast it in the first place.
whoops, clerical error. Gee whiz, sorry, bud. And that'll be the extent of that. They'll just wash their hands of it and be done with it, close the book, and nothing more will come from it. And it's a real fucking shame. They never face any real repercussions for fucking people in the face like this, and it sucks. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something comes from this. Maybe there's some kind of internal change where this kind of thing won't happen as often in the future. Doubtful, but who knows. Anyway, though,
Yeah,
I feel
that's
terrible
probably a
for
pipe
Mr.
dream.
Harrison. What he went through here, he did not deserve it at all. That's about it. See ya.
Yeah, now there is something I'm curious about because I want to look at this. Give me a second. I was saying before, why didn't he pipe up about this? Why didn't he, at the time of the event, not say something about it? And
A real bummer.
give me a second. Because Charlie actually talked about it on stream. Hang on. Where is it? Where's the...
Is this real? Is this fucking real? Wait, Tampa Bay. That's my neck of the woods.
Hang on.
Everyone here is guys doing.
Oh.
Hey, how's it going, Corey?
1 minute, Mr. Harris.
Fucking.
Okay.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Well, he's listening.
He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Well, he's listening. Say it to him.
Oh.
Okay. This right here. You know what? This is what I was looking for. I'm guessing, because Charlie actually says, like, hey, he has his hands up. He has his hand up. He's wanting to talk. I'm going to hazard a guess, and we didn't think of it at the time because obviously we didn't have the information. He was probably trying to talk to the judge and say, and didn't want to just butt in, and probably wanted to tell the judge, Judge, that suspension was rescinded back in 2022. My license is fine. My guess is that's probably what he was trying to do right here. And the judge, because he didn't have the information, was just like flabbergasted by this point, so he didn't allow him to speak. But because he probably thought he probably went on the assumption he was going to make some kind of an excuse about like, well, Judge, I had to get to my doctor's office. I had frag youth. He was probably anticipating that. He probably didn't realize. Like, I'm wondering if when he made this gesture where he was wanting to speak, that he was going to say, Judge, my license is actually fine. The order was rescinded back in 2022. I'm fully licensed. That's my guess. And, you know, Charlie was joking about it at the time, but Charlie didn't know. He didn't know. Yeah, Your Honor, that's Cat. Yeah, I'm sure that would have gone over real well.